Tammy has had enough personal tragedies to put any country song to shame. She gives new meaning to the word survivor, and it's really a great pleasure to welcome the Queen of Heartbreak, the Queen of Country Music, Tammy Wynette, to the Inside Word.
It's great to be here, Michael. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming by. I wanted to ask you about pulling together 25 years of I mentioned the word before we got in here, a legendary career. Was it tough for you to pick out certain songs and pull all this together?
It was difficult for me in some aspects. I had favorite songs, some that had never been released ever on albums. One called Deepening Snow, and some songs that had never ever been out for the public to hear. So I wanted a few of those in there, and I wanted to start with the mid-60s and come up to the 90s. So it was hard putting it together, but my husband did an awful lot of the work on it, and we just went through the songs at home that had been my biggest songs and my best songs, and then after those I just got the songs that I liked to sing the best, and that's what went into it. And I didn't know the first song on the box set was even in there. Someone taped me without me even knowing it in Birmingham, Alabama before I went to Nashville on that one song, and it's me and just the piano, and boy am I loud. I'm not the best, but I'm the loudest, and I didn't know it was going to be in there, but they surprised me with that. But it's really a thrill to have it out.
You know, when any of us put on an album, it always brings back memories, or if there's a song or what have you, it gives us memories of what we were doing at the time. Do you have the same feeling when you're listening to this? Do certain songs bring back memories about times in your life and things like that?
Yes, they really do. The song Till I Can Make It on My Own is one of my favorites. And Richie and I wrote that about 3 months after George Jones and I divorced. And he asked me, he said, well, if the person that you really loved and depended on walked away, you know, from a woman's point of view, what would you say and what would you do? And I said, well, that just happened to me, and all I really can say is, till I get used to losing you, let me keep on using you till I can make it on my own. So from that 2 lines, we wrote the song, and I still go back to that time when I sing that song almost every night. You know, I can remember how I felt when I was writing that song and what brought it to mind, you know, to write, because it was so personal at the time.
Throughout your career, you've had a couple of titles, and we mentioned the First Lady of Country Music and the Queen of Heartbreak. Because everybody has titles like, well, I don't, but Elvis, the King, and on and on and on. Which title do you prefer? Do you have a preference?
I don't have a preference. It really doesn't matter. I think we all get a title of some sort, you know, whether it's right or wrong. They came up with First Lady because I walked into my producer's office one day, and he said, did you know you were the First Lady? And I said, First Lady to do what? He said, the First Lady to sell 1 million albums in country. And I said, no. And so that's where the title came from, and I was married to George Jones at the time, and he said, I want to do an album called Me and the First Lady. So we did that. But you get tagged with something, and I'm pleased with both of them. I'm honored. I'm very happy with them.
And George was kind of the president of country music at the same time, so you know, that worked out. Did you know back then that country music, because it's exploded so much and has become so mainstream, and the way they're calculating albums now is really showing this popularity of country music. Did you know back when you started that country music was going to become so mainstream?
No, I think I wanted it to, because I know so many shows that I did, and they wasn't about put down on country, but it was like it was in second position, you know, to something else. Something else was much better than country. Any other music was better than country. For a long time we faced that, especially the women in country music. But now it is so big and so wonderful. We were talking about that this afternoon. I'm really glad to have been in on the beginning of it, you know, when 25 years ago, and now to see what has happened in those 25 years, it's really been great for me.
And to see Tammy Wynette on MTV with Caleb, when I saw that, I was like, that is what I call crossover.
Well, you know, I did that for fun. I just did it for fun because the 2 guys were brought up on my music in England, and I didn't know them. And my husband came home, and he said, you had a phone call from a group called KLF in England. He said, you probably don't know them, but he said, I do from Billboard. I know who they are and what they're doing. And he said, they want you to do this song with them. And I said, well, let me hear it. So I heard it, and I thought it was so cute and so catchy and really a neat song. And then my kids and my grandkids kept saying, play Moo Moo Land, and they wouldn't call it Justified Action, it was Moo Moo Land.
That's what I called it all day, and everybody in the staff, you know, they do all the research, they have all the facts right, and I said, no, do we have a clip of Moo Moo Land? I'm like, what the hell is that? I was like, that's the song that Tammy did.
Well, that's what they all called it, and it just stuck. And I did it for no other reason than just pure fun, because it was so much fun working with those guys. And then I toured England again. I've been going there now for 22 years. And I worked with the guys. They dressed up as 12-foot ice cream cones, and I stood between them. They never let anybody see what they looked like. So
and I thought Porter Wagner dressed weird, you know? I want to ask you very quickly before we go into the break. Hillary Clinton made an offhand comment about Stand By Your Man. Did you guys have a conversation about this?
We did.
What was the result of that?
Well, she called and apologized, and I thought it was very, very nice of her to do that. I think, got my feelings hurt more than I got mad about it. I've laughed and told everybody that I really disliked the fact that she called me a little old lady more than I did the fact that she put down Stand By Your Man. But when she called, she was very apologetic, and I told her that I did understand. She said they were firing questions at her so fast that
there's no way to keep up. Did you get an invitation to the inauguration?
Yes, but I can't go, so I'd love to.
Do you have
I've
extra
worked
tickets?
for 5. No, I've worked for 5 presidents, so I hope to make this 6, and I can go later.
Well, now that's an inside word right there. She's going to be working for the president, ambassador to Nashville or something. We don't know yet. We're going to continue talking with the legend, Tammy Wynette. Don't go away. Inside word. Inside. Is the top-selling female country artist of all time, Tammy Wynette. Quite excited to have you here today.
What an introduction. Thank you.
Well, you know, we try. We write these things up. We'd even have a drum solo for you here, a drum roll.
Thank you.
I want to ask you about your 5th husband, George Ritchie. He is your manager.
Yes.
Is it tough to be married to your manager?
No, I thought it would be. In the beginning, I thought, you know, we'll be together so much that it'll probably be very difficult. But it isn't. On the road, he handles the business end of things for me. And then when we get home, he's in the office constantly, and I'm home. So we're not together 24 hours a day, and it makes for a very good marriage. We've done very well this way. Been 15 years now, and we're just doing great. Very happy this way.
A lot of people don't know that when you were first getting started, you were studying to be a beautician, or you were a beautician.
Yes, I was.
Do you still do your own hair? Do you still have an interest in that? Maybe you know, opening a chain of Tammy's hair salons? What do you think?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think I'll pass on that. That's about like picking cotton. I'll pass on both of those. But I take a hairdresser with me. That's one thing that I said I would afford myself if I possibly could, that I would never have to dread fixing my hair every night because I had done it so much in a salon. And I do carry a hairdresser with me.
I want to ask this, and I ask this with all due respect, because I think a lot of ladies especially look back on pictures. I know my mom always did this, pictures of her hairstyles in the 60s, and would go, oh my God, what was I thinking, or whatever. Sometimes do you take a look at your hairdos and go, that was unusual, a little bit?
Look at them. As a matter of fact, I did last night. I saw an old rerun of Hee Haw when we got into town. And it was George Jones and myself and our daughter, Georgette, and she was about that high. She was about 3 years old. And she's a registered nurse now. She'll soon be 23, and it's unbelievable how the time has passed that quickly. And my hair was down to here. You know, I was wearing hair pieces and falls, and my hair
really
was
poofy
long.
up here,
But yeah,
and
it was real poofy up here. But then I saw an old movie with Jane Fonda, and gosh, her hair was much higher than mine. So I
like
felt
Barbarella
like
or something.
yeah. I said, I don't feel so bad. It's not just the country artists that did that. We were all doing that in the 60s. Every hair piece we could find, we stuck on our hair somewhere, our head.
I'm glad I finally got to ask that question. It has been a pleasure talking with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Be sure to pick up Tears of Fire, a 67-song CD box set celebrating 25 years of the musical career of Tammy Wynette, and be sure to pick up a box of Kleenex as well.